Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I'm Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. Let's do this, guys. We've got a big action-packed show for you. Remember, as we get started, we are sponsored by the Virtual Fight Tour, and we got the next big show this weekend. If you have not gotten your tickets, make sure you go out there and do it. June 26th, starts at 6 p.m. Get your tickets tonight. As you are listening, Go on, do that, and visit myeventex.com to get your tickets. It's going to be action-packed, 4 main fights, big-time names, and we saw a lot of that this weekend watching the Battle of Atlanta, getting prepared for those.
Speaking of, thanks, Jim. You know what? The hat is really just because it's been one of those days where you've been working from home. You ain't had time to really do much. So the hat looks better than what's underneath the hat. But what's going to go on from there? But thank you. Yes. No, speaking of action-packed, you're right. Jeff, did you get a chance to watch? I know you and I were talking a little bit about the battle, right?
Yeah, we did.
I'm going to say what it is. It was basically the Bailey Murphy show.
Man, it was, dude.
It was the Bailey Murphy show, but then you could sit back and go, okay, what did Bailey win? Okay, Bailey won the lightweight overall. Wait, Bailey won the open weight. Was it Bailey was the winner of all the winners? So it was just Bailey?
And then
Bailey won the teams?
Yeah.
He was on the winning team? And he was the anchor? Okay, so it was the Bailey show. But it wasn't exactly like that. Like the end result was that.
Yeah.
But like the teams was tight. The All-Stars, it went down.
It was exciting. Yeah. And the tournament was great caliber of fighters. Good seeing certain people step up. Again, Brandon Ballou is stepping up, winning the heavyweight grand. Oscar again is in the finals of the open weight. We've talked about this for about 3 years now, really. The team fight, exciting. Seeing Jamal again, amazing fight from VFT. Before, right. And now he's continuing it, winning his division, winning his divisional grand. Good seeing him, Kevin Walker, and was it Luis? Is that who it was? It was on the third man, I believe, from Argentina. And
gosh, I forgot his name.
Yeah, but great. They all fought great.
He did well.
He did really well.
Good guy. Tobias Lopez. Yes. That's who it was.
Yes, Tobias. I'm sorry. Yeah, Tobias Lopez. So amazing, just overall amazing stuff. Great. Again, seeing different women out there fighting.
Yes.
Again, forms, seeing Haley Glass, her first adult competition, going out there and nailing it. I'm excited to see her versus Sammy, that, and hopefully if Noelle gets back, imagine that.
That's what I want to see. I want to see Noelle and Haley be the new duo.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. So,
but Sammy's still got a stronghold on it.
Oh, she does. She does.
But with that, so the battle was great, and I a lot of times can rag and say but because there's a lot of buts I will say.
Right.
They didn't get out of their own way with the whole extra grand thing.
Right.
They got themselves into some trouble with that. Theoretically,
right. But I think really overall confusing. It was all right. Yeah. Everything. Listen, every time you try something the first time, But
they don't. I don't think they needed it.
I don't think you're right. Yeah, they didn't need anything extra. I get what you're saying.
They could have just brought the first place winners up. All right. If you were one of the 18 plus first place winners, go up there. Well, it would have been a much more interesting storyline.
Right.
But you know what? I think in the end, this is a fantastic tournament. And this is just a story like, here, you don't need the extra stuff. Just run a great tournament.
Right.
You don't need the extra stuff to show up. It was fantastic. But the last thing I will say is Bailey Murphy, he's the new Raymond. He's this generation's Raymond.
And again, guys, today is Bailey Murphy's birthday. So happy birthday, Bailey Murphy.
Happy birthday, Bailey.
Yes.
And with Ray being in the building, I thought that was fantastic too.
Yes, that was really cool. So
and not fighting, it was almost like, here's the torch.
Yeah. So again, amazing stuff, and great job, Alex. You got that done in 5 minutes. So that's really because our intro was great.
Open I've ever had.
All right, guys. So you can comment whatever you want in there, but we have an amazing guest with us. Man, we have the new Olympian, Ariel Torres. How you doing, man?
Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm so happy to be here. I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm thrilled. Thank you for having me.
All right. So
we're
first
thrilled.
question. Yes. First question. What does it feel like to say you are an Olympian?
You know, it still takes a while to process. Like even today, I was making a post because today is Olympic Day, right?
Correct.
And I'm here like every day I would post, hey, Olympic Day, Olympic Day. And today I'm here like, yo, it's Olympic Day and I'm an Olympian. Like, no way. It still kind of gets to me. I still see some of my videos from last weekend, and I'm like, I can't believe it. It's happening. I can't believe it's a dream come true. So how do I feel, man? I'm excited. I'm happy, and it's been a dream come true.
Awesome. So explain to us just what happened, what you do last week in the process, and where you were at to do this. I guess not last qualifier, but for you, it was for you to make the Olympics in traditional karate.
So basically, what it was is that every country in the world sent their best athlete in each division. So they have the two kata divisions of male kata and female kata, and then they have three kumite divisions: light, middle, and heavy for male and female. And I went for kata. I was a representative for the United States, so the number one of every country sent an athlete, except for the 5 athletes already qualified for Olympics, which in my category were Japan, Spain, Italy, Venezuela, and Turkey, right? So those countries in the division could not send a representative since they already had an athlete going. So this event already has a lot at stake. It's not like the other events we have to go there to gather points, to maintain our ranking, to be able to keep going to events. No, this event was like make it or break it. So there's a lot of pressure. I didn't feel that much pressure in a way. I was there more like I was confident in my skills. I was very emotionally ready for this. You know, it's like no matter what happens, I'm here, I'm ready. You know, I'm just gonna do the best kata, the best form I can. And the process was all the athletes were broken up into 4 pools. So it's similar like to sparring, right? They break up into brackets and so on. And it was 4 pools of X amount of athletes, and then you win round 1. You get to the next round and 2. So basically, I won 3 rounds of katas. Each round we have to do a different kata. And then in the final round, we're left with 4 athletes. Okay, and that was like from 9 in the morning until like noon competing, right? Because you have to wait for everyone to go, get your points, get scored. So it was like 4 hours. It was do one kata, wait for everyone to get their scores. I'll go again, do another one. So it took a long time. Well, 3 to 4 hours later, I made it to the top 4. The finals were 4 athletes. Only 3 go to the Olympics of those 4. So now pressure is real because it's 4 of you and you made this far, and then just the smallest thing can just be like, you were so close, buddy.
Wow.
That hurts, right? So then now I wait 6 hours. Again, 6 hours until 6 p.m. I compete at night show. So this is something that I believe the Naska and the open circuit helped me out big time.
Awesome.
Because I'm used to competing all day Friday, going Saturday, compete in the morning, compete again, run-ups, grounds, overall. And then night show, I was like, I get goosebumps because I'm like, I've experienced this before. You know, the only difference is the Olympics is on the line, but I've experienced competing so many times already and then waiting a long time to compete again. So whatever, I go there 6 p.m. I have to warm up all over again. I have to go through the whole process again. The same thing, us eyeballing each other like, you know, who's not going to make it to the Olympics, who's going to make it. No one cared first, second, or third. We just cared of not being the one out. So it's us 4 athletes in a big room just looking at each other like we're training. We're like, who's going to be the one out? So whatever, I go out there. It's round robin. So I don't know how they do round robin and open circuit, but basically we all face each other. Okay, I'll face this guy, I'll face that guy, and I'll face that guy. He'll face me, he'll face that. We all face each other. And if you get a win, you get 2 points. You get a loss, you get nothing. You get a tie, you get 1 point. And at the end of all 6 matches, there were 6 matches. Each of us faced someone. There's 6 matches. I was match number 2, 3, and 6. Meaning, from 2 to 3, I did not have a break. I finished my kata, and I have to go again. So it was, and I went against one of the toughest opponents I believed I had. So I go round 1, I do, it was hard. I go round 1, I do Ohandai against Iran. He does his kata. I'm resting because I do my kata, he does his kata, then the judges vote. So I went first. I did my kata. He went second. And while he's doing his kata, I'm here like with my head down, closing my eyes. I'm breathing because I know that
You're right.
as soon as the decision is made, I have to take off my uniform, put on a new uniform, put on a new belt, and go again because I was ready. They do a red and blue belt thing, right? So I wear a red belt and a blue belt. And this is just how it's been in the traditional circuit. You wear red and blue just to identify. Aka, just literally easier. Red or blue wins. Similar to how in sparring, sometimes they have the red flag and the white flag, and they go red flag 1 point, red flag 2 point. Same thing, right? Red flag, blue, and blue belt. So I'm here like, okay, breathe. Okay, I go out, boom, I win. And I'm like, yes, this is 1 point. I know that I'm kind of safe right now because I haven't lost.
Correct.
So I go backstage. The judges are throwing the uniform at me like, dude, put this on. You have under a minute. If not, you get DQ'd. You get disqualified. So I run from the ring to the backstage, put on my uniform, boom, try to drink, got water thrown on me, whatever. Boom, I'm going out there. I have to bow again, take off the mask, do all this process all over again.
Oh, that's right.
And now I'm waiting for the guy to finish his kata. I'm here with my head down, like still breathing heavily. Like, dude, like I have to go again. If I win this match, I qualify for the Olympics.
Yeah.
It's done. This is the last one. 100% I qualify for the Olympics. So this guy's from Taiwan, Chinese Taipei. He's good. Like big deal. Like I looked up to him in 2018. Like he was one of my role models. And I'm like, yeah, I go, whatever. I go out there on the mat. The mat is slippery because it's a new mat. They flip over the mat. So the new part is on top. They wipe it down, disinfecting it.
Right.
So now I'm walking on the mat again the second time. And now I feel it. The first time I didn't feel it. Now I felt it. I'm like, oh man, this is heavy. This is tough. So I'm there. Boom. I get in my zone. There's no audience. There's no one. There's no one in the audience.
Okay.
There's me and the judges. The people in the audience are like the VIP, like the presidents of certain federations. So
correct.
Not a big audience.
Right.
I do my kata. I finish, and then halfway through the kata, I don't know. I don't remember anything. I and I'm like, whoa. Did I forget a part of my kata? Did I mess up? I don't remember. I feel good, but I hope I didn't mess up. I feel like it just in a blink, it was gone. And I'm like, okay, I'm waiting. So now when they give you the scores, they show a technical score, an athletic score, and a full score. So your technical score, basically, they have 7 judges. They all give you from 1 to 10, right? And there is 9.9, similar to Naska, except if you get 999 across the board, that doesn't necessarily mean you win. In Naska, you get a 9, a 9, a 9. You won. Unless the other guy gets a 10.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Here it's like
comparison.
you get an 8.8. Maybe this guy gets a 9.2. So the comparison, you don't know for sure that you won if you got 10s across the board because the other guy gets a higher score than you. So, and it gives a lot of room for difference because one judge can give you a 9.8 and the other judge can give you a 6.
Correct. Yeah.
Literally.
Well, that was going to be my question
that's
for you, Ariel.
30-something points, right?
Right.
Do you the scoring?
Yeah, they deduct those. So I'll get to that right now.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
2 highest scores. They have 7 judges. They take out the 2 highest and they take out the 2 lowest.
Okay.
So you're left with the 3 middle judges. Because there are some guys that want to get a low score, maybe. They don't think you're good. So they give you a 6 and this guy gave you a 9. And it's not like that's not a 2-point difference. That's a full 3 points difference, meaning 6.1, 6.2, 6.3. There's a lot in between there, right? That's a big difference, big gap. So they take out the 2 highest and the 2 lowest, and they keep the middle score. But now you're scored on technical and athletic. So each judge gives you 2 scores, maybe a 9.92, 9 and 9.8, and that's your athletic and your technical. The technical score gets multiplied by 0.70, and the athletic gets multiplied by 0.30. And then you get like an overall score. It's all the last 3 scores. They take out the 2 highest, 2 lowest, and you have 3. So they multiply. They add the 3 scores, then the 3 technical, and they add the 3 athletic, and then they multiply by 0.30 for athletic and 0.70 for technical, and then they add them up, and you end up with something like 25 point who knows what, right? Something like that. And I'm here, and we're both, me and the guy from Taiwan, we're both looking at the scoreboard, like looking at the technical score, because if I get a technical score of 18.50 and this guy gets a technical score of 18.10, I definitely won because the athletic score won't be that. The athletic score is usually like a 10-point difference, but the technical score is the big difference, right?
Okay.
So I'm here like, oh, I won. And I'm looking, I'm like, oh, I won. I just got to make sure I won. I know I won because I saw the technical score. And I see the athletic, I'm like, yes. I won by over half a point, which is a big deal.
Wow.
So then the judge
Yeah.
calls it, gives me the win. I shake the guy's hand. I go to my coach, and then now the commentators are saying, he did it. He knows it.
Yeah.
He knows it. I qualified for the Olympics at that point. And
Yeah.
I lost it. I was like, oh, I can't believe it. I go backstage. I call my mom. Hey, we did it. We're going to the Olympics. Now, one more match left. So I was match 2 and 3. I went match 4, match 5. I'm going match 6 against a guy that day scored an all-time high score.
Wow.
Huge, meaning like big high score. Like I scored a 25. This dude scored a 27.10. This dude scored so much higher than me in the previous rounds because we're separated. So different judges, different set of eyes. Usually in Naska, what's the highest you get? 10. Yeah, here it's kind of like taken away. And it's just like, you're not going to get a 9 if you win. There's a lot of like, you can win with 7s across the board, 6 and 5s. It doesn't matter because it's everyone else can get lower. So this guy got a 27 point something. I'm like, oh, dude, it's going to be hard. So I go into the final. I do my kata, and I'm looking at the score. And again, I see the technical score, and there was a huge gap. And I was like, no way. I just got first. I just won the whole thing. I just qualified for the Olympics. And I won the whole thing.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, no way. And I couldn't hold that. I tried to be serious, tried to be like, and I just can't. I'm just like, oh my God, I just qualified for the Olympics. I got first. These guys have support. Like these guys I've competed against for years, and they're older than me. They're like 27, 29, 30 years old. And I mean, they're good. They're powerful. They have the experience. They have the power. And they're incredible. And I was like 12 years old looking at these guys winning world championships, getting medals all over the world. And I'm like, come on. So I win. I won champion. I felt great. And I was happy. And that was basically the story of it.
Yeah.
Then the guy from Taiwan and the guy from Korea, they both had a tie because they both won 2 matches, lost 1, both of them. So then second and third was just decided by their combined total scores, meaning whatever they scored in round 1, 2, and 3, they combined it, and whoever had the higher score of them two will get second and third. And that's it. So the guy from Iran was left out. Third place was Korea. Second place was Chinese Taipei, and I was first.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Wow, man. Wow. I felt like, thank you for explaining all that. We have a lot of people, a lot of fans here of yours, man.
Yeah.
Like everybody is
proud of you.
saying you're an inspiration. They're proud of you.
Kaylin saying that you scared her half to death.
Yeah. Yeah, I said, yep, Sensei loves Canelo, and then we're watching, and they were yelling. So that's so awesome, man.
Oh yeah, I know that my Revolution family, man, they were going crazy for it, and believe it or not, you feel the love, you feel this energy. Like I don't know if people believe in certain things, but I believe in energy, and I feel like I had people from my both community, from what I call the open circuit, the traditional circuit. I feel like they were all rooting for me, and I feel it. And you can feel this energy. I felt my phone just constantly. I'm getting it. I can't focus on that, but I felt it, and I feel like everyone just wanted me to qualify because both communities have played a huge role in my development as a martial artist, as a karateka, and I definitely would not be here today without the help of what's been going on in both worlds of karate or martial arts. I feel like everything played a huge role, and especially
we want to get into that as well
about the open circuit being a part of it.
We definitely want to get into that. So let's go back to where you started, what school, where you're from, so that way if some people they know, hey, this is a guy who's going to represent us from the Olympics. Most people know you in our world, but there may be some that aren't, because hopefully we get some kids that are watching that maybe don't compete yet and are interested in all this, right? So go ahead and explain where you came from.
So I was born in Cuba. I came to the United States when I was 4 years old in search for a better life with my family, we try to get a better future, something like a doctor. So I wanted to be a doctor and a lawyer at a young age. My sister ended up becoming a doctor, a neurosurgeon actually, and I got into karate at 6 years old because the doctor told my family, Ariel needs a sport to help him focus. He's very hyperactive. He can't focus for more than 5 minutes on a certain task. So we need this dude to focus on something. So the doctor literally recommended, like, hey, do karate, something along the lines of karate martial arts. Thankfully, there was a karate school just 15 minutes away from my house, so we were able to walk there because we didn't have a car at the time. So I would go to karate. I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the unison, kids punching and kicking together. They're yelling together. They're all, trying to do their best. This one did 10 push-ups. I want to do 12. Things like that. This one does a key. I want to yell louder than him. I want to be stronger than him. I want to do the best I can. So eventually, I fell in love with this sense of striving for perfection. Not only in kata, but in kumite and sparring. I love to fight. It was fun. It was like a game. I get to go in there, punch, get some points, win, and you'll be happy. So I'll go home and I'll be exhausted. I'll be exhausted. I'll go home. I'll fall asleep. My mom will be happy. They go, this kid fell asleep. Great. We love it for him. Awesome. And eventually I wanted to go to competitions, and I loved it. I went to a national championship that was very close to us, and nationals for the traditional circuit is like a huge deal because it's only once a year. And I got third in fighting, sparring kumite. And my mom was like, whoa, that was so cool. That was fun. And I fell in love with it. The next year I wanted to go to the nationals, but it was farther away, and we didn't have the funds to go to the event because they're expensive. And my family couldn't afford it. So they told me we can't go. And I was like, no big deal. I understand. As long as I get to go to karate, I'm fine. So my parents ended up coming up with an idea. We would pick up money in the street, asking for donations, like really close to here. So we went by car with my karate gi on. They had a sign, with my 3 little medals that I had won, losing and stuff, whatever. And people would donate money from my community. And eventually we made the funds to go to North Carolina, the national championship, and I won. I got first place in kata and kumite, which was a big deal because, in these events, they only have 2 things, kata and kumite. And I won, and I was super happy, and my parents were super happy, and they told me, listen, you see, don't let money stop you from chasing your dream, no matter if we have it or not. We'll figure out a way. We don't know what we're going to do, but we'll figure out a way to get you here. If this is really what you want. Your sister wants to be a doctor, we'll support her however. If you want to do karate, man, we'll support you. And that hit me in the heart, and I've never been able to back away from karate because I know it's something that I love. And my parents love that I love it and that I've enjoyed it so much. So my first sensei, his name was Tony Malvares. I used to practice Shorin Ryu up until the age of 12 because at the age of 12, I wanted to be a part of the United States karate team. And you can be a part of Team USA, the quote-unquote Olympic team, sanctioned by the Olympic team at the age of 12. That's the junior team. From 12 to 20 is the junior team. And you have to go to nationals, and you have to get first or second in your division.
Right.
And it's hard. It's hard because to go to nationals, you need to qualify in your state, in your region, and it goes a province, region, state, and then you can go to nationals. And in nationals, first or second, and it's only for black belts. So no other belts, just black belts, 12 and 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, male and female. So the junior team is like around 80-something people, no more. And there's not a 9-year-old in Team USA. It's that's why it's very different. So I wanted to do that. But for kata, there were a certain set of rules that you have to follow. Back in the day, you had to perform something called shitei kata, which are like mandatory kata.
Yeah,
so there were like 8, right? 2 from each principal style. And it was Go-Ryu, Wado-Ryu, Shito-Ryu, and Shotokan. My style was not in one of those. So how was I going to compete? Yeah. And I wanted to compete. So I told my sensei, I want to compete. And he's like, you have 2 options. One, you learn these katas on YouTube and I help you somehow, but that's not going to go well. Or 2, I can send you to a certain sensei I know, and he can teach you all these katas. But you have to only pick one. You either go to this sensei and you stay there forever, or you stay with me forever. You have to pick one. I love you like my own son.
Really hard.
But you have to pick one.
Wow. How old were you at the time?
He's like, you cannot go to him. I was 12 years old. 12 years old,
and you're faced with a do or die decision right now.
And it was hard. And I cried, and on the spot, I told him I have to go. And this is a guy that would pick me up from school and take me to his dojo so that I can train, because we didn't have the money to pay for the dojo. So I would teach class so I can train for free. And he would pick me up from school because my parents couldn't take me to the dojo. This is a guy that was a second father to me, right? And he straight up said, you go here or you stay with me, fine. You go here, fine. But one or the other. He always said, a dog has 4 legs and only picks one path. And in Spanish, it sounds way better than in English. It wasn't in English, so it's just a phrase that they say, a dog on 4 feet and it goes one way. So meaning you have 2, you need to pick one path and you need to go clear. So I was crying and I was like, I'm going to go to the competition because I want to be world champion. And world champion is different. Again, we can get to that later. World champion in Open is different than world champion in WKF, right?
Correct.
So I wanted to be world champion. I wanted to be like Antonio Diaz. At the time, he was like, he is a legend. And I wanted to be like this guy, right? And I cried and I said, I'm going. So I went to Robert Young, my current sensei, at 12. And then I was like, Sensei, I want to learn karate from you. My sensei, blah, 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 blah. Tony Mabares. And I want to be a champion. He's like, you want to be a champion? He's like, well, I don't make champions. And then he started, we get into the real karate essence. He's like, I make a martial artist, a contributing member to society, yada, yada, yada. He's like, I make real karate people, real karate people. And I was like, okay. But I want to be a champion. I'll do it. Can you help me be a champion? And he's like, join class. So whatever, I start training. I loved it. It was completely different than what I was used to. And I was like, this is crazy. I love it. And I fell in love with it. And little by little, I learned the new katas. I go to the nationals. I got 3rd place. I had never gotten a place in all those events. I got 3rd. I lost. I didn't make the U.S. team. The next year, so I trained a lot, man. I trained like 6 hours a day, and I was just in high school, in middle school, going to high school, whatever.
Yeah.
And I trained a lot, and the next year I got 3rd again. I didn't make the U.S. team, but I got 2nd in fighting, so I made it for fighting. So
okay,
not a big deal. Then the year after, I got 2nd, and I finally made it in kata. And then we go to something called the Pan American Championship, which is where 2 athletes from every country in America, North, South, Central, Caribbean, go to this event. It's a big, big deal. Like, I don't know what you would call it. The U.S. Open maybe, but bigger deal because you can't just go. You have to be the number 1 in your country.
Yeah, you have to qualify. Yeah.
So I went there. I got 2nd place. Big deal. That opened the door to sponsors from uniforms and things like that. So I started noticing my sensei, Robert Young. He knows his thing. He knows what he's doing, and I trust him. And I'll let him guide me in any direction. And now the question was posed, like, Ariel, you can't go to these events. So what are we gonna do? You need money. And I was like, Sensei, I don't know because I can't afford it. And he's like, okay, well, I have an idea. He's like, I know about this other circuit. I know about the Open circuit. And there was the Pan Americans, right? Pan American Internationals, not to be confused with Pan American Championship. I was confused. I was like, what is the difference? Pan Americans, I just came from Pan Americans. There's only one every year, and I didn't even qualify. So I go to the Open circuit, and it was a Pan American International, and I was like, whoa. But I went as an adult. And I think I was like 14 or I was 15 years old. Yeah. And I said, I'm 18 years old, and I'm here to compete for the money. Right? Because I want money. I need the money so that I can travel and go to these events. And then I'm here like I'm competing. I'm warming up. People are eyeballing me. I feel weird. I love the competition. It was so cool. So many people doing all the cool stuff. I was like amazed. I was like, I love this. I was doing kata. People were clapping. I was like, no, you don't get this in Southern Circuit. So I fell in love with it instantly. And I get protested. I don't know how to work the Naska because in WKF you can be 12 years old and you can compete adults.
Right.
If you lose, we just take your money. Your problem. But you can compete in adults. It's not a problem. So I never understood what it was like. You're 15 years old. You can't compete in adults. What? Like, what do you mean? Like, so whatever. Okay, I can't compete in adults. I'm bummed out. I told them I was 17. Okay, I'm 17, not 15. Okay, I was 15. I'm 17. Oh, you can't compete. Okay, fine. Whatever. No big deal. So I do a demonstration. I remember my judge was Dennis Brown.
Who said you can't compete? Who was it that said you couldn't compete?
I don't know who said it. I heard rumors of who protested, but I don't know for sure. So I can't tell you a name because I just heard rumors. Oh, this person, now this person, now this. So if I give you 5 names, I don't know. Some person said it was this guy, this guy, this guy. So someone
just think
said,
they protested the first Olympic.
He just came from nationals.
Hey, it happens, man.
Oh, man. It happens. So Dennis Brown said, you guys are in trouble next year to the whole division. And I was like, oh, this guy just said that. And I was like, okay. So I'm not used to these comments because where I come from, judges aren't even allowed to talk to the athletes.
Yeah.
They're not even able to fist pump them, high five them, hug them. It's just about
Yep.
just as a courtesy, like just if you see them in the street, just to acknowledge that I know you're here, but I can't talk to you because of the rules. Bye bye, and I walk away.
Yep.
No, how are you? No, just to take away a little bit of the bias because you create communication, feelings are involved.
Yes.
You know, there's a little bit of
Huh,
people
Alex,
are like
sounds
that. It's
familiar,
normal.
huh?
So
I know it sounds
I wasn't
familiar.
used to.
Yeah, Ariel,
I've
talked about this.
Judges are like, man, you are the man.
Exactly. Yeah, it's crazy, right? It's completely different.
I wasn't used to a judge coming up to me. Just I was thrown off. But I said, fine, whatever. So the next event, I go to another Naska event, like not Naska, but like open circuit event. They're giving money.
Right.
So I'm like, oh guys, I took off my age from Instagram. I erased everything, and I go like 2 months later to another event with a really bad beard, like puny, like little line, like this. Kind of looked like a grown ass man. And I'm like, yeah, guys, I'm 18. So whatever, I got protested. I was like, where's the proof? I'm like, no, man. Where's your ID? I'm like, dude, listen, I just came from Cuba a few years ago. You know, like I just have resident card, blah, blah. So I competed. I won $300. I won. Okay. So I go home. I tell my dad, here you go. This is for you guys to help with the house, whatever. You know, I gave the money to my parents. So eventually, David Miranda Sensei, a guy from the open circuit, he's with Kia Kids. He would help sponsor some events, and like just to pay the registration. So I would go to these local Florida events to pay registration. I would win the money. I would offer him to pay back. He's like, keep it. So I'll give it to my family. And then I got picked up by Team Bring It, right? And Team Bring It by Rick. He took me to Battle of Atlanta, which was my first like big Naska event that I was actually able to compete in. But I competed at 17 years old. Okay?
Yeah.
So I competed there. I won my division. I was first to go. I won my division. I got all nines against great competitors. You know, it's hard. We were talking about Jackson Rudolph, Cole Presley, the Justin Chang. Like it was hard. Right. Yeah. So I won. Then I lose to Derek Megan runoffs. Okay. I come back. Now I'm getting asked to. I start competing more in Naska events around my house. I get more money to help. And now Amerikick offers me a spot on their team.
Right.
And I'm like, heck yes, let's go. So I make a contract with Amerikick. I'm a part of the Amerikick World Team. Now I'm able to go on Naska tournaments funded. Now as long as I win, I do well. I can keep going to the events, and I'm funded. I'm a professional now. I can go. So I win all Naska events, and now we just make the money. I'll win. I would go to the event, make the money, go home, help out my family, put some money on the side so I can go to events because my goal was Olympics. Right. And this was in 2016. Olympics were in 2016. And I was on Amerikick on 2016 US Open when I won it. 2017, I was just going to all Naska events, making the money, saving the money, put it on the side, until I have enough to go to these events. Then after Amerikick, I had another team called Dream Unit, which was a movie company that basically it didn't take off, but they were helping me out for a long time to sponsor a lot of events. And now I'm I was also on K-Talk, which they helped a lot before Amerikick, actually. I was on Team K-Talk. They took me to Las Vegas. They helped out a lot with the team, with the US Open, traditional. So they were a huge part of it. And now I'm with, So now I'm with Team Revolution. Cornell helped me out going to all these Naska events. So again, I can make the money because I can't invest the money in these events because I don't know what's going to happen in the Naska events. I never knew exactly what would happen when I would get there. I can do my best and maybe you don't win. Right. We don't know what's going to happen. So I would get the sponsors, whatever I had, they would take me there. I'll compete. I would win, and I would use this money, put it on the side, help the family, and go to the Olympic events to qualify. So if it wasn't for Naska events, open circuit events, if it wasn't for Kia Kids, if it wasn't for Bring It, if it wasn't for Amerikick, if it wasn't for K-Talk, Team Revolution, and Dream Unit, I would not be here because they all play a crucial role in me going to all these events, right? So that I can make the money to go. And if it wasn't for the mastermind, my sensei Robert Young, that came up with this idea of this is what you got to do. This is where the money's at. You win here, you get exposure, you get sponsors, you can go to the Olympics. Wow. And that was the whole plan.
That's so cool. That's awesome.
I feel like I just watched the Ariel Torres movie.
Yeah, I know.
Oh man,
This is wild.
it was a long process. It was long. It was
We
hard.
need to get a movie director to talk
Yes,
to you,
I think so.
That'll be cool. That'll be cool.
and you
Oh,
can still
man.
play yourself.
Man.
Man.
All right, Alex, what you got something for him? You got a question?
Yeah. So, all right. So obviously, Ariel, Jeff, and I are on the open circuit sport karate side of that, and that's
Mhm.
where a lot of this community and world knows you from. But we also know that, I mean, obviously, you have a big, massive name in the WKF world. So when you say, and you've talked about some of the differences between like the open circuit world and the traditional circuit world, what are some of the pros and cons that are just like very like out there and blatant? Like, these are the pros and cons of each of them. I've done them both. Let me tell you what they both are.
Okay, so also with Naska, because it was I didn't do WKF, because traditional doesn't necessarily mean WKF. WKF
Right.
to even do
Sure.
WKF big
Good
time,
point.
you have to be an adult. So let's talk about that. So
All right, that's a good
traditional
point.
and
Just
Naska.
traditional circuit.
Start
and
with
NASCAR.
Naska. So yeah. So the Naska circuit for me was the pros for Naska were I was able to make money, a lot of money to help out my family. We were poor at the time. We couldn't help do a lot of things. So me being able to contribute to my family at a young age was a big deal. As long as I would win, I was able to make this money and help out. Exposure. There was so much exposure on TV, on nighttime shows that would give me private classes. And we know that private classes now can range from $100 to I feel like a baseline right now is $100 a private class, and it can go skyrocket up depending on whatever, right? In traditional, that doesn't exist. It was like with your sins, it's like $20 an hour was a lot of money. So when I found out like I can charge you $100 for a private class, what?
Right.
That was another pro is the pros for me were money with Naska and exposure, right? And I had so many competitions. That's another pro that I was able to keep traveling. Sponsors, right? So that it can all become free.
Right.
The stage, the nighttime shows were a huge pro because nothing can compare to the first time I was at the US Open stage at 17 years old and I see in front of me and it's like the heads disappear in the black room, ESPN.
Yeah.
That was very nervous. Nothing can come back to Quebec Open when the stadium is filled with people and it's just like, whoa. Nothing can compare to the Warrior Cup when that feeling of when I won the Warrior Cup, it was a big deal because of everyone, so these pros are like the competition, the money, the exposure, the sponsors, the events, the amount of competitions you can do, the stage that brings out this showmanship as an athlete. And I would say those are right now the pros. The cons were definitely, I didn't like how there were too many world champions. That's something that the word world champion was taken too lightly. If I heard world champion, it was like, you're a world champion?
Yeah.
Whoa, because in traditional karate, there are like 8 a year, every 2 years, actually. There are 8 every 2 years. And the kata the forms world champion is a beast, is an absolute monster. You cannot stand next to them because they're that strong. You can't even, I wouldn't even be able to just go up to them and talk to them because they're that intimidating. But in the open circuit, it was like world champion, world champion, world champion. I'm a world champion. I'm a 38-time world champion, and I'm like 38. So you've been what? The math doesn't add up.
Thank
It doesn't
you
add up.
so much.
So that was a
Oh my
huge
God.
con. That the world. So when I found out I was a world champion, I was like, what? What do you mean I'm a world champion? I haven't.
Wait, someone had
I'm
to
like,
tell you?
I don't even have. I'm an Olympian. I don't have a world medal. I don't even have a world medal.
Someone had to tell you you were a world champion?
Yeah. Like the sponsors I had at the time, they're like, dude, you just got a world title. And I'm like, what, really? And I was like, that doesn't make sense to me. I was happy with it. It's cool. Now I'm a world champion with all my buds. That was cool, I thought. But other than that, I can't go to a person from the traditional circuit and be like, I'm a world champion.
Right.
Because they would laugh at me. They're like, dude, you went to the world championship and I got 5th place in the world championship. And that was a big deal. So in the open circuit, you get 5th place and it's like you didn't get first.
Yeah.
So now first, second, and third in Naska open circuit wasn't a big deal. What was a big deal in the open circuit is like, did you win your overall grands? That was a big deal. But in traditional, if you got a third, oh man, that's a big deal because the medals weren't just given out to first through eighth or finalists, or it didn't exist. It was first, second, and third, and you wear that medal with pride because you know what you have to go through to that medal. So with a third, I was happy. So my students that would get third, I'll be like, dude, why aren't you happy? Like in a traditional tournament, that's a big deal. And they're so used to this mentality of like overall grants is all I need. You know, so the con was too many world champions. The first, second, third, too many prizes. It wasn't valued enough. You know, another con were too many events, too many world championships, too much politics. Not politics like as politics per se, but it was very difficult to, as an athlete, compete comfortably knowing who's judging you. Like one time I remember I was at an event and they just randomly asked me, hey, can you judge? And I said, sure. I know some kata, I can judge, right? But they can ask that to anyone, and it's happened before. And I didn't like that I didn't know who was going to judge. Maybe it was this guy's best friend, and that guy's not going to give you an A. You know, so cons were just like, that was a con that I wasn't comfortable of who were judging me sometimes. I would have to extra perform. And even if I extra perform, it doesn't mean that they're going to give me the score I wanted. And I'm definitely not saying that I am the best or anything like that. But when you do kata and you're true to yourself, when you do kata, you know who is better than you, and you know who you're better than. Like, I know that there are a bunch of people better than me. I know who I cannot beat, and I know who I can beat. And I also know that there are people that were here that on any day, it can be either of us. So, you know, there's this knowledge, you know something, right? And there are some times that you lose that you're like, why did I lose? You know, like, what can I do better? I know that I can do better, but I know that I was better than that person. So what happened? And then you see certain people clapping each other up, eating dinner together, and you're like, I got it. That makes sense now. Okay. Now, so that was for me. Those were the cons. The too many events, too many world champions, the too much communication with the athletes and the judges, so it will create a lot of bias. The protesting rules for taking out a judge wasn't really. There weren't really like concrete. Like, you can't just take out a judge because of X reason. In WKF, you can take out a judge, but it has to be a very valid reason. There's like a certain criteria to take out a judge. Usually the judges get up because if they're protested to get out, they lose their license. So now another thing.
It's like if someone's getting protested in WKF, it's like not only are they not judging that division, they're not judging again.
Yeah, well, it can get to that, right? So, example, we're doing a fighting, right? We're doing a fighting match, and this guy scores a beautiful head kick, and it meets all the 10 criteria for scoring a point. Because you can't fall down and score a kick while you're falling down, because there's criteria for scoring the kick. So that's why people are always bouncing, trying to score on a clean point. And even if it's in a clean point, it doesn't mean you're getting scored, because there are 4 different angles, and maybe that person couldn't see it at that moment. But now, when they do a video review, because they have video review, to the point, and then the point says it's a valid point. Judge 1 and Judge 2, why didn't you give the point to red? You guys were in the cameras were from your angle, so why didn't you give the point for now? The judges have to give a valid, perfect reason. I blinked, I sneezed, I don't know, something, and if they don't give a license, they will lose. They will lose their license. So maybe they were rank A, they'll go to rank B, and they can't judge anymore the higher fights,
the higher level
because
events,
they couldn't. And you have to pay like thousands of dollars to be able to take the test to get an upgrade. So now when you are paying thousands of dollars to get to take a test, a practical and written test, and show that you know kata, show that you can do certain things, and you pass it, and now the odds of you being biased for someone else are a lot lower, because if you fail the test, you're not gonna you lose your money, and you lose your license, you lost everything. So that's something that I really like about the WKF, at least in that sense. Again, there is politics everywhere, I believe, everywhere, in different ways that you don't know, that I don't know, but I believe that it is a little less bias in the WKF than it is in the open. Now let me talk about the WKF and the pros and cons. The pros and cons of the WKF is, when I started the WKF, there were the money. There's not much money. Like in a WKF event, if you win a WKF event, man, it's a big deal. And I think you get like 750 euros for winning a WKF event. That's still less than a Grands. I prefer to go to a Naska event, a Grands, go home, and that's it. And you go through so much because we have to go halfway across the world, spend so much money on hotels, this, and that, and it's expensive when it's halfway across the world. And then you get up first, and it's still not the same. So money was an issue. When you get to a certain level and you become quote unquote a professional athlete, like I have to get into the top 12 in the world to become a professional athlete and get paid like a stipend and then reimbursed everything by the Olympic Committee. But that's hard. You have to invest a lot of money that came from Naska so that I can go to all these events, travel, and eventually get into the top 12. Now I have to maintain my top 12 so I can keep getting the paycheck and keep being a professional. The moment I fall off the top 12, you're not a professional anymore. You lose your health insurance, you lose your everything.
Wow.
So now WKF pros, the pros are when you become a professional athlete, you get paid, at least in the United States. In other countries it's different. I love that the referees have to get their licenses.
Yeah,
they have to earn their right to sit on the same way you earn your right as a competitor to travel across the country to represent your country. They have to earn their right to sit on their chair and judge you.
Doesn't the same thing happen
both ways? So there's respect.
Yeah, doesn't the same thing happen for coaches? Don't you have to get a license to be like a coach as well? Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't stand up and throw a bunch of F-bombs here and there because you will get your license taken away. Your federation will get fined by the WKF and the Olympic Committee. The federation has to pay a lot of money out of pocket because you messed up. So you're going to have to pay it off. You get your thing revoked, and now you can't be a coach anymore because you couldn't keep your composure. There's a lot of rules as a coach that you have to go through. You have to go through safe sports guidelines, background checks constantly, a bunch of, there's a lot of things that you have to go through as a coach, because I'm a coach too for the United States national team. Like for when I go to nationals, I'm a coach for my students. So I have to go through all these coaching guidelines that you have to know. You have to know when to protest. You can't even be like, point over here, because it can influence the judge by mistake to react to your reaction. Maybe they take the flag. And then you're like, you have to stay still. Yeah. You have to yell a certain way. You can't get up. There's rules, right? So that's something
I would be a bad coach.
So Ariel,
again,
Ariel. This is why I've talked to Alex about this and explained this to him, that he's asking me, well, what does it take? What do we need to do for judges? What do we need to do for this? And I've told him how strict it needs to be. And he was like, you're crazy. You're crazy. And I'm like, all right, let's get someone else on here that experiences this. It's real. That's what it takes to be a professional sport. You have to be professional, right? And it's a lot of work. And that's why I've said before, like, the biggest thing is getting certification for judges and being more professional and having the judges be in different different hotels than the competitors. That way they don't fraternize at all, right? And I have people from sport think I'm crazy, I'm nuts. But that's what it takes if you want to get to that level.
I don't think you're nuts anymore.
Yeah, that's what you have to do to get to the next level, right? Right, Ariel?
Yeah, but WKF wasn't always like this. You know that this was like, I think like 4 years ago they implemented this rule where judges can't like be communicating with the athletes and all of these things. Like it took time to develop. And little by little it's getting better. Like some judges are very strict on it, like don't say hi. Some are like, oh, how are you? That's it, But there's no hugging. What's up, my guy? Let's have a drink.
It takes time. It's a big shift.
Yeah.
It's a big shift.
But it's possible. But I do think it's possible, especially for the sport, if you want the sport to evolve. And listen, and Naska holds a special spot in my heart because, like I said, I didn't grow up in it, but it was a part of developing me as an athlete, especially a performer. When I compete, it helps. So it takes time, but it's possible. It's possible. And are they willing to change? Are people willing to accept the changes? Where are you changing? How is it going to happen? Usually, mostly people just think about what's in their pocket and how much they're getting in pocket and how much it's going to cost for them to do this, But it just takes a small step forward to start going. Maybe starting with the rule, starting with literal tests. Very simple. What's the name of a front stance in Japanese? Now the problem with the open circuit, it's a martial arts competition.
Yeah.
It's not a karate competition.
That's
You
the
see,
hardest
that's
part.
the big difference, because
Yep.
WKF is the World Karate Federation. Open Circuit
Right.
is Martial Arts Federation. There's Taekwondo, there is Kempo, there's karate, there's Jiu-Jitsu, there is there's everything. So
Yep.
now you cannot have set rules because there's too many things.
Exactly.
People go to me, I do karate. Look, I'm like, honey, that's Taekwondo.
Yeah.
That is not
Exactly.
karate. Karate's
Yep.
karate, Taekwondo's Taekwondo.
Yep.
So
I
there
mean,
needs
martial
to be
arts
like,
is so
okay, if
divided.
you want to
Yeah.
turn the open circuit like that.
Correct.
So
Because
there's already too much right now.
every style has their
that's what
own.
I believe is a problem.
Right. Every style has their own like circuit on their own anyway.
Like
and
closed
then
circuit.
we try to bring it all together in open martial arts. And then we have divisions within that. So, I mean, it's so tough to try to, when people say, let's unify. Well, I mean, karate itself isn't even unified, you know, that
Exactly.
Taekwondo is definitely not unified, it's deeper than what people think. Like, well, what one person will change it? What one thing? It's not. It's
what
a long
happened
process.
with karate was when they said the Olympics.
Yep.
Now everyone had to go. Boom! This is the only way to go. This is karate now, and that's what the USA NKF, the national body for the Olympic Committee of Karate, did. They're like, okay, these are the WKF rules, and this is what we're gonna follow in our events 100%. These are the rules that we're gonna follow because of that. Now, when there's not a huge objective, what are you guys going to do? What I would suggest for the open circuit, because the open circuit are the people that want to cross over to the traditional, and it's possible because many people. Mason Stowell has done it. He's done incredible. He competed with me in one of the world events against me in the finals. He's beaten Antonio Diaz like I have. It's possible. I have students, Alfonso Santos, that crossed over. There are many people that crossed over from the open circuit to the traditional. It's possible. Now, I feel like if the open circuit can create a very, very strict WKF division, not a traditional challenge. Traditional challenge is a step in the right direction. Yes, a very great step in the right direction. But a WKF karate competition where the people that want to become a referee would have to go to the USA and KF competitions, get their license, pass the test, wear their badge. And when they go to the Naska event, now the Naska event can have a WKF division with these judges that are literally certified. And it's not hard to get certified, your first license. It's hard to start moving up, but now you at least have some knowledge. And this is a step in the right direction in a WKF event so that these guys, these incredible kids in the open circuit can grow up and be able to cross over to the traditional and not be surprised when they get there. Because I believe they can dominate over there, which we have. A lot of us have.
Because of the presentation and the presence, and just like you said, like not really being that much afraid of being around so many people and just like when you go to open tournaments, like you said, you don't know what to expect. Anything can happen. That can be a bad thing, but it also can be a good thing to know that and so when you go to a circuit that's more, there isn't as many different possibilities. Oh, this is easy. I got this, right? So yeah, I mean, definitely love sharing this perspective on the show. I really appreciate that, Ariel. We have had another Olympian on before. We had Miss Arlene Lamus, who was the first Taekwondo champion, and she won the gold. I'm messing up, 88, I believe. And so she one of the biggest things she said is like, being an Olympic athlete is just something different. And it's just a whole nother level, right? And so just explain that, what process you are doing to be an Olympic athlete. What is the next step that you're doing that others don't?
That's a fantastic question.
That's a good question, man. That's a good question. You know what I'm trying to do? I'm trying not to change.
Okay. Good.
I'm trying to be me, not only as a human, because it's great to say you're an Olympian, right? And it can get a little bit like, oh, I feel so good, right? But you cannot train, believe it or not, at a certain level, you cannot train harder than you have. You cannot train more. The moment you change, what got you to where you are is the moment you trip over and fall and you have to start climbing again. So at one point in my life, I was training too hard, too much, not smart. 8 hours didn't get me anywhere.
Right.
I met my training partner, my current girlfriend. She qualified for the Olympics. She's representing Hong Kong. And I learned from a professional athlete like her that you're not supposed to train 8 hours a day. You're supposed to find what works for you. And once you find exactly what works for you, exactly what you need, you stick with that until the day you die. And I found it. And I found it during the quarantine period when we had the whole COVID pandemic. I found it in that year of isolation, of just training, not only hard, but training smart, finding out what my body needs, the weight training, how much to do, what exactly does my listening, because what is good for me is not good for you or him or whoever.
Correct.
What is good for me is good for me. And that I found it little by little, just every time I developed my training program, listening to my sensei, of course, all the advice he would give me. But at the end of the day, it's my journey. And I would figure out what worked for me. And eventually, when the time came, it was 2021. Events were still getting canceled and postponed. And I go to my first event in Istanbul. And I have a book of everything I've ever learned from my sensei. I write it down. And I go through it. And I create, every week I create a new program from my warm-up to my Kihon training. And my training doesn't last more than 4 hours a day. No more than that, unless it's weight training, then it's 2 times a week. There's a little bit more, but no more than that. And I don't do more than I'm supposed to. I'm training with my sensei, and it was like a Tuesday, and my timer goes off. Beep, 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 beep. Oh, the sensei, time's up. Not because of anything, but because if I exert more energy right now, if I go past my threshold, I'm going to peak early. And then when the event comes, what do I have? So I learned what I'm supposed to do before an event. And I go to the event, I do incredible. I was happy. I come back, and Sensei's like, oh, we need to train harder. And I was like, Sensei, we cannot. We're going to do exactly the same thing I did up until this event again. From the resting period, from the light, because there are weeks you're supposed to train light. Because if you kill your body, it's not going to help you. You need to treat your body like a beautiful instrument that you take care of, and you use it when you need to. You keep it low. You have to maintain it. So like, Sensei, no, we're gonna start again the same way we started for this event. Easy, like week, week 2, week 3, 4, boom. I go to that. I do well again. I got 5th out of all the competitors. Now Olympic qualifiers. Sensei's like, dude, we're here. We're gonna make it. I was like, Sensei, yes, same strategy. I start off again. I go from the back to the beginning. I calculate all the days. I calculate how many times I get. I calculate my peaking process. Boom. We go there. Sensei, I qualified. We're going to the Olympics. Perfect. We're going to do the same thing again. I found my routine.
Right.
And now that I can
find
say
your
I'm an
routine,
Olympian,
and like you said,
I cannot change what I've done.
Calculated, man.
But
I think that's it.
I cannot change my personality. I cannot change your personality. You have to stay hungry, not be hungrier. You have to be enough hungry. You have to be what you have. The moment you want more, the moment you want more than what you can handle is the moment you mess up, the moment you get an injury, the moment you mentally break yourself. So keep it up. Keep what's been working for you. Now, I can say I'm an Olympian, but I can say that I haven't changed. I can say that it's the same. It's the same. I give back to my community. Whenever someone reaches out to me, I try to reply as soon as possible because I need the good energy they've done for me. When I train with the same intensity, with the same heart, with the same love, with the same passion, because it's there. I don't train harder than before. I train smart. I train how I'm supposed to. I try to improve every day just a little bit, taking little victories, one victory at a time. And I just try to be the same person I am. I don't try to let anything, because I try to be the same with everyone I grew up with. I don't want to change. And I'm going to fight so that I can stay the same area I've always been, so I can train the same way, so I can react the same way. And I have a bunch of people. I have my sensei that if anything ever happens, he'll beat me into my senses. So I know that I have people behind me to help me stay the course.
Wow, that's so awesome.
Wow. I mean, I tell you, if there's young kids that are just listening to this show and just wondering what it is that they should do, you don't have to wonder. You just listen. This is fantastic. Hey,
thank you.
I want to touch on something. This sounds silly. This is probably the thing I wanted to talk to you about the most. The milk commercial.
Yeah, all right, good. Because I was just gonna, we have to at least get to that before
I want to talk about that.
Go for it.
Because it was 2 things. One, that was super freaking cool, right? But 2, you did something that I was I kind of mentioned to people, like, along for like a while. It's like, why don't we just get our own sponsorships? Like, why don't you do that? Why are you not allowed to have something else on your uniform? Why are you not allowed to do that? Why aren't you allowed to, why can't our uniforms be like NASCAR? Well, yeah, obviously in WKF, there's no way you'd be allowed to compete if you did that. But I'm just saying, in the sense of getting your own sponsorships. So one, how did the milk thing
how did that happen?
How did that come to be?
Oh, dude, that was completely random, man. People still don't believe me when they ask me. One day, I'm scrolling through my emails because I try to scroll through my emails every day at least once because you get a bunch of trash. But eventually, you just get a random message that just catches your eye. I was like, "What is this team? You say something," and I'm like, so I open it up and I'm like, something about milk. They're asking the United States Olympic Committee had reached out to me saying, "Hey, Ariel, we found your contact information because we have a potential sponsor that has been looking into you and they want to sponsor you. Can we give them or your agent your number?" I didn't have an agent or a manager at the time, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, just give it to me. I don't have anyone." And they gave me, and I'm reading this contract, this offer. Now, it wasn't a contract at the time; it was an offer, and I'm like, "Got milk? There is no way that someone that got milk offered anybody like me got milk. How? Did they check my browser? Yeah. Did they check my life that I drink milk all the time? Like, how did this happen, right? So my lawyer right now is Doug Stein, my manager, my everything. He's my lawyer. He's where the dojo that I train in with my sensei. He owns it. So I was like, "Hey, Sensei Doug," he's also a karate teacher. I was like, "Do you mind looking at this? Because I don't know if it's real. I don't know if it's fake. I don't know if someone's put in my leg." And he's like, "Yeah, just give me the email." So I'm here training, and he's going through it. He's like, "Ariel, this is legit. This is from Got Milk. This is from Milk Pep, the brandy, blah, 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 blah. How do you want to proceed?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know," because he's like, "Well, I'll be your lawyer if you would take me. As long as you take me, I would love to be with you on the ride," because him and my sensei go very far back. They're great friends. We're using his dojo, Yeah. So I was like, "Okay, I would love to have you as my manager, as my lawyer." So he took care of everything. And then eventually I was like, "There's no way." Like, I didn't believe that they would come. And then they fly me out to Texas. We're shooting the Got Milk commercial. We're shooting a bunch of stuff. I'm going to be on Milk Jugs coming out in Albertsons very soon.
Wow.
It became huge. I never thought that would happen. That I would be a part of Got Milk. We all know about Got Milk, but
right? Yeah, the
mustache.
mustache.
I think that's mostly for. That was the first thing I asked. So whenever you're doing my picture with the milk on my mustache, oh no, that's not a thing anymore. Because now the idea is Milk is trying to push more people like athletes. The mustache thing was like for celebrities back in the day. So that's why I'm not a celebrity. I'm just an athlete. So they're like, your thing is different. Yours is like, we want to encourage people just to believe milk as a sports drink. And I can get behind it because I drank milk all my life. As a kid, I would drink milk all the time. So I was like, okay, I don't mind. And I had dug into nutrition and all that stuff, and I loved milk, and I didn't mind being a spokesperson for milk. I was like, I love it, so I don't mind. As long as I trust it, and that's what it is. And I fall in love with the milk. And now about your question about NASCAR and other patches, basically, the Olympic Committee, right? The World Olympics don't allow they have rules because basically they need to get paid by the brand, So like for WKF, the uniform cannot even have the uniform logo. So example, if my uniform was a Tokaido or Hirota, if it was Nike, right? If it was Nike, I wouldn't even be able to wear the Nike logo on my uniform. So even the new uniforms going to Olympics, they have to take out the logos. It has to be a blank white uniform with your country flag, and that's it. Because they're not getting paid directly or something like that. It's very complicated. But basically, so the WKF doesn't allow the sponsor patches on your arm a certain size. But for the Olympics, you cannot have sponsor patches on or anything like that.
The Olympics didn't get paid. All right.
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
Unless Got Milk decides to drop, I don't know, a lot of money.
Yeah, right.
They can use that for more milk promotion. I prefer that than wearing the patch. But you see, that's something with the Got Milk people. They don't care if I wear like a patch. It's not even about that.
No.
It's about what I'm doing as a person, as their athlete, and all of this. So it's
That's
not even
cool.
about we're paying you to be our spokesperson only, but
It's
you don't have
just
to
for
wear
the
your
ad.
patch. You don't have to do this. You just have
Right.
to do your job. It's your
Yeah,
job.
do what you do.
Just be
Yeah.
an athlete, be a good person, do your
Yep.
job. Just
Hey.
do you. I'm not posting every day on Instagram I'm drinking milk. I only posted, I think, one milk that I've drank milk one time on Instagram because he just want me to be me, you know? And I'm not always like, hey, guys, look at me drinking this. Look at me drinking that. Look at me. I just post about karate all the time. You see? So they're like, we don't want you to be someone else. Just do you. Do whatever
Yeah.
you want to do. Just
Right.
do
That's
your
cool.
That's
spokesperson
cool.
thing when I
Yeah,
have to
they
go
just
do
want
my
to push
ads.
you.
So it's awesome, you know?
That's awesome,
Yes,
man.
yes, and that's the beautiful thing. They're not like, here, Ariel, make sure to post a picture drinking milk. No, that's the best part. Like, I've never had to do that. The best part is I just train, and as an athlete, they support me. I come out on Team USA on their website. I come out on ads. The other day I was going through Facebook, and I was like, oh, here I am. This is so random, you know, because Milk posted me doing one of my hold my milk things, and I was like,
Yeah.
no way. So it's a lot of exposure for just doing karate. I think it's good for all of the people doing karate. I feel like it's going to open up a bunch of potential people doing karate in the future.
Absolutely.
But I
Awesome.
was lucky.
Awesome.
I was definitely lucky. I think I was lucky.
That's so cool, man. That's so cool. Yeah, it's cool to be like, hey, not only do we have a sport karate guy in the Olympics representing America, but also, hey, you know that guy we've seen on stage? Yeah, he's on this commercial. He represents Got Milk. It's really cool, man. So congratulations. We have one that I want to ask a question, and then we're gonna wrap up. But let's see. Brett Shumway was asking about a WKF question. So he was saying, I know the forms divisions are huge. What round do you go to one-on-one competition? Do they work down to the final 8, or is it just the medal rounds? So, and I know that,
so what they do is they have like X amount of competitors. So depending whatever competition it is, right? So let's say a Premier League, there's only a maximum of 64 people can attend a Premier League. So let's say all 64 people attend the division, right? Because sometimes people don't show up. So what they do is they try to divide it into X amount of groups with X amount of people. So for 64, it'll be 8 groups of 8 people, right? Okay. So group 1 has 8, 2 has 8, 3 has 8. Everyone has 8. So you just imagine 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now they all do one kata. So group 8 will do one kata, all of them, one by one, and they'll get scored. They'll be judged with everyone in group 8. To the next round, to round 2, only the top 4 of each group go to round 2. So from group 1, go 4, from group 2, go 4, and so on. So then in the second round, you're going to be left with 32 people. But now the second round will be broken into 4 groups because they'll combine the 4 that won in group 1 with the 4 that won in group 2. Those are combined, and now there's 8. So then and so on, the 3 and 4 will be combined. 5 and 6 will be combined. 7 and 8 will be combined. Now you have 4 groups of 8. And they'll do another kata. Again, the same order. They'll go again in another order. And they'll get those scores. And then the top 4 again go. So now the 8, 4 go to the semifinals, which will be the third round. These 4 go to the next round. 4. Now you have 4 people going from 4 groups. They combine. So you have 4 and 4. You have 8. You have 4 and 4. You have 8. So you have top 16 in the third round. 8 here, 8 here. Now what they do here, this is the most interesting part. They have 8 here in the semifinal. They have 8 here in the semifinal. They run them up again. They only get scored with the people in their group, meaning they don't get scored with these people. They only get scored with their group. So the number 1 guy will go to finals. Both. So this number 1 guy goes to final. This number 1 guy goes to final. The number 2 guy and the number 3 guy will go against the number 2 and the number 3 from this side. So the number 2 will go with the number 3, and this number 3 will go with this number 2. So they'll cross.
Okay.
So that maybe you didn't get a lucky draw, because sometimes you just get a lucky draw and you got all the good guys in your pool. So maybe you make it to the top 3. Now you get to go with this side. So that means maybe most of the time the better athletes are going to end up with a medal. So they'll flip them, they go against, and whoever wins gets bronze and bronze, 2 bronze. So now it can vary. One time I had a 16 different pools with like 30 people because we had like 200 and something competitors, 285. So I was competing all day. So that's how it works. Yeah.
Wow.
So the medal match is just 2 on 2. 2 people against each other.
Wow.
285. That day was long. I got 5th. I didn't even get a medal. That's what I tell a lot of people. I got 5th, and I was the happiest guy in the world. You see what I'm saying? I got fifth, and I was so happy. But
How
people
many
get
forms
fifth, and
did you
then
do
you're
that
like,
day?
I lost.
How many
That
katas did you do
day,
that
I
day?
did one. Yeah, okay, let me see. I'm gonna tell you right now. That was in Istanbul, Turkey, in 2019. I did round one on Anandai Super Rempe, Akurufa. I only did five. It wasn't that many. Only
Okay.
five.
Five.
Yeah,
Five.
because when you start taking
Only
out
five.
people,
Right.
I did 6 in Paris, and there were less people. So
Wow.
can you imagine? Yeah. So it was only five that time, and it was fun. It was fun, but I lost to the number one guy in the world from Spain. So I was happy. I didn't care. I just made it to the medal match.
Right.
It was a big like milestone in my
Yeah.
karate career.
And you have to, the first 3 rounds, you have to do completely different kata until you get into what, the finals? Or
So for those events, for those events you cannot repeat at all.
okay.
So there were
All right.
times where I
Cool.
did. Let me see, which one was the one I did the most? Yeah, there were times that I did like, yeah, it was 5. I did 5 different katas,
Okay.
and
Awesome.
you can repeat. But for the Paris qualification tournament, they had the preliminary matches, and in the finals, the final 4, they allowed you to do any kata.
Any of your
They
kata.
just said this is a new competition because we really want the best of the best to battle it out with their best tools.
Right.
This
And
is
it
the
was
way we're
round
going to pick the
robin.
best
So
guy. Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
this was a separate competition. That's
Cool.
why they let us like technically repeat. It was a completely separate competition, just 4 against 4, and that's why we were able to repeat. But usually now, like when I was younger, when I was starting out the event, I would just make one of my forms the best form because all I wanted to do was pass to the next round, right?
Mhm.
And eventually, I made it to the second round, and now I'm like, okay, I need to really practice my second kata so I can make it to the third. And it got to the point that now all my 4 katas, my main 4 katas that I use that I'm going into the Olympics with, my 4 katas, they're all at the same level, I believe, because even my synthesis, like on any day, this one can be better than this one. And it can be,
Right.
so it's no more longer like, I'm going to do this kata every round on the first one. No, sometimes it's a strategy. How do I feel that day? Am I too anxious? Am I too relaxed? Because now I have a kata. I have one of my katas for each one, for the mood I'm feeling, for the athlete I'm going against. Because sometimes you're very hyper and you can start with this, but one of those days you're very focused and you need to start a certain way. You cannot start too hyper. You have to start more subtle, more relaxed. So I have a kata for that. So you have to be able to manage your feelings and pick the kata. Yeah.
Wow, man. Well, Ariel, man, we have learned so much, and we are excited to bring you on here, but we are excited to see you and watch you represent America, represent karate, and, man, do your thing, man, and we're all going to be cheering for you, praying for you.
Absolutely,
And,
we are.
man, just keep us up to date on what's next and everything, and we'll keep sharing it out there, man. We'll keep sharing your journey, so.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to be talking
Appreciate
about
it,
you
guys.
again after the gold medal.
That's right.
Amen. God willing, hopefully. Anything,
right.
listen, the Olympic Games are going to be a big deal. They're going to be hard, but anything's possible. We're only 10 athletes there. You never know what happens, and I'm definitely going to give my best like everyone is. And right after that, I'll be willing to talk to you guys again. So let's plan on it, and thank you guys for having me. I had a great time talking to you guys. Some incredible topics, some fun points. I loved it, sharing it, especially the commonalities, the differences, everything with you guys. So thank you so much.
No problem, man. Well, you take care, and we will see you next time. You can go ahead and see you, buddy. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
See you. Wow.
Oh, man.
Can't believe that, man.
Awesome stuff, dude. Awesome stuff. I know next week we're going to have to talk about that, some of those things, and some other stuff. But real quick, guys, we just want to remind you guys that, because, again, this is the last show before the VFT 9. We want to make sure you guys know that we are sponsored by Virtual Fight Tour 9, but go out and get this show, man. So remember, we're going to talk real quick. We're going to try to do this the quickest predictions there is, right?
Yeah, let's go down the line. So
we have, because of the injury to Christian, he's not there no more. So we have Michael, who coming off a victory from VFT, and he is going to go against Tariq Saint. So again, 1 week's notice. I think Tariq is on point right now, and one of the top competitors, definitely in the lightweights in the world. And so I'm gonna go with him. On that one.
I'm gonna go with Tyreek by a fair amount.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to predict that Tyreek wins each round.
Okay.
So I'm going to go. Let's say if Tyreek wins, I'll say he wins by 8 points.
Okay. Hey, I mean, I think we could do that. Hey, hopefully, I think Michael's going to use that as motivation. So, and he should. All right, next one.
Next one we have Jason Latona and Tyson Ray.
Man, this is going to be a great fight.
This one could be the closest.
I think it will be. It could be the closest. But someone could also, because again, the last time they fought, actually both times I think they fought, it was for a 1-round fight. It was kind of a good gap between the two, I think. But
back and forth leveled up so much, though.
He has. Tyson's
leveled up so much, and the last time we saw Jason win, but we weren't. Listen, I don't want this.
At least in VFT, yeah, in VFT,
we were not impressed with the win.
Right. In VFT, yeah, the last
exactly.
time I've seen him fight since then. With the Waco qualifiers and those, and he looked good, but I feel like again that Tyson has leveled up, and in a way that kind of like what Carlos was saying, he's matured. Not just his fighting's gotten better, but he's matured overall. So he looks.
We watched him. We watched him.
And he's fighting a battle. So
fighting the men,
right.
Actually, I think it was Tyson in the team fight that brought the team back. Team was losing. Yeah. Tyson came back in the second round, brought the team back and tied it up.
Yeah,
they needed Tyson. Without Tyson, that team doesn't win.
Right. So pretty amazing stuff. We both go Tyson. Then we got Bailey versus Enrique, which is a great fight. I mean, again, I think I don't want to just keep repeating what everyone else has said, but now especially since the Battle of Atlanta, it's hard. I mean, how can you vote against Bailey? You know what I mean?
I'm not picking against him again.
So I mean, you can't do that. I mean, and really just the way that he's developed. The only time that we've seen him lose in the past 2 years was to Jack. And I mean, he lost to Kevin as well once, but I mean, overall, he's been the most consistent, the most dominant, and
the couple losses that he had have been Jack Felton, Kevin in Europe against Elijah.
Yeah,
you're right, Andrew. These are all main events.
Yep, they're all main events. So yeah, I mean,
no, I'm not picking against him, and I'm actually going to pick. Here's how I think it's going to go. I think they're going to be close in the first round. I think it could be 1 or 2 points, but I'm going to pick Bailey to be up. I think Enrique will actually land a fair amount of side kicks to the body because I don't feel like Enrique is going to aim them for the body, because some people, when they aim their side kicks to the body, they aim them low on the body. Enrique's smarter than that. Enrique aims them up on the chest, right? Which is hard to blitz through that when the side kick's here, because you can't really go under and around it. Right? Correct. When the side kick's lower, especially when Bailey goes with the back fist, you can angle and you can slip through that. But when it goes up higher, you have to really angle that if you're going with a back fist.
Right.
So I actually feel like Enrique's going to land a few of them. I think Enrique might even get the second round. There's no way in the third round. I think Bailey might even bring it up 5+ points. I really do.
So I think this could be one of the closer fights. But I'm excited about it because I'm excited to see more kicking. And I'm interested to see if we see that. So, I mean, I'm going with Bailey, but I think this could be the fight of the night. So
now for the main event of main events.
Yeah.
We got Avery Plowden versus Oscar Guzman.
Man, I mean, and again, like we were saying Oscar always finds a way in the finals of the open weight, dude.
He gained some street cred. That's for sure. He has gained some street cred with his last couple wins, because there was the thing like, when was the Warrior Cup, where it was like, all right, I guess we got to bring Oscar in. He didn't win his division to get in there, but all right, you're in there, and you're against Jack Felton.
Yeah.
I mean, here's your participation award, and then he beats Jack Felton.
Right.
So you're like, oh, damn, never mind.
Yeah.
But then, who was he up against?
He was, yeah.
He was up against Avery.
He's up against Avery. So we're going to get a rematch, but 3 rounds. Again, yeah, Oscar has been more active, but I mean, Oscar's never done a VFT. So he had,
this is Avery's first one.
Both of their first time. I'm excited just to see both of them in a 3-round fight. I do think that Avery's going to, show his Averyness, his ploudness,
his ploudnicity.
Yeah, it's just another level. You know what I mean?
Now, here's what I'm going to predict.
Teach, you know what I mean?
Since we're making predictions, I'm going to predict Avery lands 2 head kicks at least.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
Which is because like in the last couple of them, we didn't even see head kicks.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just going to go off of the only thing I can. Last time we saw him fighting, his front leg kicking had leveled up, and he was like verbalizing like he's trying to get even better at that.
Yeah.
All right. And so I'm just going to assume that it has been, since that's what he said he wanted to do, and that's what our eyes watched happen. So I'm going to predict he lands at least 2 head kicks. So I'm going to say he wins the first round by 3. I think Oscar wins the second round by 1. And then I think Avery takes the third round by 6.
Wow. All right.
When I'm making my prediction, I'm just making it. Like, this person's winning, and they're winning by 15.
Oh, man. I love it. Well, guys, go out and get your tickets. Thank you for supporting Inside Scoop. Hope you guys enjoyed the interview today. Man, and thank you guys, insiders, for watching and typing. There's so many comments. We really appreciate it. And congrats to Ariel Torres. And guys, go out, check him out on Facebook, Instagram, and support this guy as he is representing us, Really so thank you guys again. And we are excited. We got several topics to talk about next week. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
You know it. This has been another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. See you next week.